Chapter 40, 20th Floor Boss, Lava Knight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While everyone was shocked, Su Ming's ranking was still rising. Player, Killing God cleared the 12th floor. After this news came out, it caused a huge stir and made everyone gasp. Everyone was shocked to the extreme. I didn't expect that he could still rush. The most terrifying thing is that it didn't take too long at all. This means that this player, who is known as the Killing God, is still killing the boss in seconds even in the high difficulty area after the 10th floor. This is very terrifying. Player, Killing God cleared the 13th floor. Killing God cleared the 10th floor. Killing God cleared the 15th floor. The continuous reminders made everyone's eyes numb. For a moment, the originally noisy outside became as quiet as death. Do. Their voices were trembling, and they were talking nonsense. At this moment in the tower, Su Ming had rushed to the 19th floor. The boss here was a huge amethyst dragon blood rhinoceros, ferocious beast, amethyst dragon blood rhinoceros. Level 23. Strength, 320 points. Constitution, 300 points. Agility, 25 points. Spirit, 15 points. Luck, 3 points. Skills, Dragon Blood Self-Healing, Crystal Giant Horn, Ruthless Oppression, Fearful Roar. This rhinoceros monster has a part of ancient dragon blood in its blood. Its ancestors were a cross between dragons and rhinoceroses. The dragon blood is thin in this generation, but it is still there. Seeing the information of this monster, Su Ming looked a little cautious. This monster is actually at the same level as the hidden boss in the novice copy, the Blood Lake Guardian. If I want to challenge it, it may be a bit difficult. But Su Ming never thought of retreating. He raised his hand and used the sword tomb. Boom! In the sky, a sword sounded, and then a huge stone sword tombstone fell down. The rhino roared and rushed forward. The sword tomb fell and directly smashed half of the waist of the dragon blood rhino into meat paste. The intestines flowed and the blood rushed straight to the sky. The power was very strong, but it was not the same as Su Ming's original expectation. It moved too fast and actually avoided it. Su Ming's face was solemn, and he thought to himself, originally, he wanted to hit the head. The falling sword tomb is the most powerful sword skill at present. If it hits the head, it will definitely cause serious damage or even kill the monster instantly. It's a pity, but it still has to be killed. The barbarian bull rushed over, and the huge amethyst horns flashed with cold light, and the speed of the charge was extremely fast. Su Ming dodged suddenly sideways, while still mocking. Dragon blood rhino, I don't know what kind of rebellious species the dragon of your ancestors was. It can actually kill a rhino rolling in the mud. It messed up the blood of a hybrid like you. It's so funny, hahaha. Su Ming's voice was full of sarcasm. This is a kind of tactic. As long as he can win, Su Ming never hesitates to use all means. Verbal anger is a very effective way to disrupt the enemy's offensive rhythm and plan. Although he knew that this monster could understand human language, he still wanted to taunt it. It would be right to give it a try. Moreover, the spiritual attribute of this monster was as high as 15 points, which was higher than many human beings. Su Ming guessed that it was very likely to understand human language. Sure enough, after hearing Su Ming's ridicule, the rhino rushed forward angrily and rushed over with a bang. The purple crystal horn on its head flashed with brilliance, and then exploded with a bang. A beam of death rays shot towards Su Ming. Su Ming sneered, it is indeed a beast, and it will fall for such an obvious provocation. It directly activated its most powerful skill trump card. Knowing this trick, Su Ming can deal with it without holding back. Activated the hidden god step for a moment to avoid the beam, then raised his hand and shook it. Crack! The dragon-embellished broken sword immediately shattered, and the broken blade flew, piercing the rhino's eye socket, blinding one of its eyes. Then Su Ming fell sideways into S blind spot, leaning to hold the broken sword. At this moment, the broken sword is a short sword. Can activate the killing god's blade. This knife must be killed instantly. Su Ming's eyes flashed with pure ruthless killing intent. Whoosh! This knife, the killing intent is as vast as the sea, surging. Seeing this knife, the huge mutant amethyst giant horned rhino actually became a little frightened. Because this is a legendary skill, it is enough to scare it. The blood-red knife mark passed by in an instant. Puff, the huge bull head rolled to the ground, the purple crystal horn was broken and fell to the ground. The god of killing sword was extremely powerful. Congratulations, you have successfully passed the 19th level. Su Ming gained a lot of experience, directly promoted to level 19, only one step away from level 20. His breathing was a little rapid, because the god of killing sword consumed too much energy. Then he looked at the ground. Loot, amethyst rhino horn, platinum top-grade material, X1, this thing is a rare forging material, which is very useful for making weapons. Su Ming put it in his bag directly. Then, a big treasure chest appeared in front of him. It was a gold-grade treasure chest. Su Ming directly used the sublimation of all things, platinum grade. Su Ming opened the box. Suddenly, a design appeared in it, platinum grade weapon, soul-screaming sickle design X1, required materials, any kind of platinum grade core weapon base material X1, yellow ape pumping heart X1, water ghost vocal cord X1, fine steel black iron. There are many materials, but they can basically be bought at the auction house. Yes, you can make this sickle and give it to Ji Yao. Su Ming's mouth curled slightly, he put away the design and stepped directly to the 20th floor. As soon as he entered the 20th floor, the scenery here changed. There were dark black rocks under his feet, and on both sides of the surrounding roads, there were rolling lava surging. A burly knight wearing lava armor stood in front. He carried a huge hammer on his shoulder, looking extremely powerful. He turned his back to Su Ming and didn't even look back. Ha! You are only level 19, but you can reach the 20th floor. You are really strong. He turned around with a calm face. But you are no match for me, please go back. The Lava Knight advised. Su Ming scanned its information. Boss on the 20th floor, Lava Knight, level 25, strength, 420 points, constitution, 350 points, agility, 280 points, spirit, 158 points, luck, 100 points, skills, lava killing hammer, flowing armor, fierce. There is no shortcoming in all aspects of attributes. Agility is even higher than Su Ming. Boss is boss. The level is only 6 levels higher than Su Ming, but the attributes are several times different. Su Ming's forehead was sweating. This boss was really too fierce. Even his most proud agility attribute was nothing in front of it. If he activated the hidden god step, Su Ming would not be able to dodge even a normal attack. Chapter 41 Light Footsteps. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Ming is now at the end of his strength. He has experienced 20 levels of round-the-clock battles. His mental and physical strength are greatly consumed. In this Tower of Silence, no food or potion can be used to restore the state. He knew that he would most likely not win, but Su Ming still chose to resolutely challenge the 20th floor. How can there be a miracle without trying? Su Ming held the Shadow Stream long sword in his left hand and the dragon-inlaid broken sword in his right hand, and rushed up suddenly. The thunder-wrapped sword art was fully activated. The terrifying lightning flashed. In his right hand, he drew his sword and slashed instantly. At this level of proficiency, he could draw his sword and slash instantly without even a scabbard. Su Ming's figure turned into a bloody light and rushed over. The Lava Knight shook his head slowly, sighed, and swung the giant hammer. Crash! At this moment, the lava turned into a curtain of white, stirring up a scorching heat wave. Su Ming rushed into it, and felt a burning pain all over his body, and his health value dropped rapidly. In the end, he was completely buried in it. But there was also a touch of shock in the eyes of the Lava Knight. Because before Su Ming was defeated, the two swords also slashed on his body. Its health directly dropped by 50%. Challenger, if it is the next time, you will definitely be able to beat me. It said in shock. There was also some admiration in its eyes. Su Ming's eyes went dark, and before he could respond, he had retreated from the Tower of Silence in the next moment. Step into the 20th floor. Current ranking, number 1. Rewards are being calculated. Su Ming had no expression on his face. Rankings are like floating clouds to him, rewards are real. In this wave of challenging the Tower of Silence, he rushed to level 19, with a large number of weapons and equipment rewards and materials. Now there is also an additional settlement reward. Finally, the reward settlement was completed. 50,000 myriad races coins, 100,000 advent coins, flowing body steps, diamond lower grade body skill. Su Ming immediately upgraded the flowing body steps, sublimation success. Lingbo micro steps, diamond upper grade body skill. The super body skills before the ancient times, based on the 8864 hexagrams of the Book of Changes, move in specific hexagram directions, which is unfathomable, light and swift, like strolling in the garden, but extremely fast. It was actually upgraded directly to a diamond upper grade body skill. Su Ming was overjoyed. He crushed it directly and studied it. He did have a gold level body skill, the Hound Step, but that body skill was not strong enough for Su Ming. There was a stronger body skill, Hidden God Step, but it was a legendary footwork after all. With his current physical strength and mental attributes, it consumed too much. Every time he activated it, he would consume a lot of physical strength, but this Lingbo Weibo is different. I can use it many times in succession. At the same time, it is an advanced body movement, which can avoid many moves. In the chase battle, it can also be invincible. After that, usually use Lingbo Weibo. When it is absolutely necessary, use the Hidden God Step to avoid the necessary attack, which is the best solution. The Hound Step can be abandoned. The iteration of skills is normal. After learning this skill, Su Ming immediately felt that there were countless hexagram knowledge and floating visualizations of the flow of footwork. In his mind, finally, he successfully learned it. Lingbo Weibo, diamond top, proficiency, 0/3 million. Then, Su Ming left the Tower of Silence. He walked slowly towards the front. My sword should be cast soon. He murmured and walked away slowly. At this moment, the tower, people were watching Li Chengwang's results. Li Chengwang passed the 11th level. Wow, can he still fight? To be honest, Li Chengwang is quite fierce. He broke through the 10th level, but didn't get any extra rewards, but he still broke through 2 more levels before making the next step. What a monster. He has a good character, but when he came back and found out that he was the second place and was surpassed by the God of Death by several levels, I'm afraid his mentality would collapse. Li Chengwang made it to the 12th level. Li Chengwang's final results were also announced. I guess his mentality would collapse after he came back. People said. Even if a person is very powerful, he would not be able to bear 2 huge blows in a row. Alas, Li Chengwang, I'm afraid he will not be able to make it. I think he will never recover after this. People shook their heads slowly and said with some sighs. At this time, Su Ming's ranking was still rising. Killing God, cleared the 18th level. What? He passed the 18th level. Killing God, cleared the 19th level. Fuck, a monster, a real monster. Who is this person and what is his talent? Li Chengwang from Wuiyang City, Su Ming, the sword master from Xianjing City, Zhang Tang from the Zhang family, and Yan Zhe, the 9-star. I'm afraid all the talents in our cities are not as good as this Killing God, past the 20th level. Current ranking, 1st. Seeing this news, people almost held their breath. After a long time, they looked at each other in shock. A newcomer, past the 20th level. Outrageous. Many second-level masters can't beat the 19th level, but he, a newcomer, has passed the 20th level. I really want to know who he is, but he should be a title instead of his real name. People said in shock, their voices trembling. At this moment, there was another person in front of him, with a very gloomy face. She was wearing a red outfit, with a hot body and a cold face. Her name was Lu Na. Who is this Killing God? He actually surpassed my brother Qinguan. She bit her silver teeth lightly, and said angrily in her heart, all the hot eyes, all the focus of the people, were on that Killing God, and those glories should have belonged to Li Qinguan. Listening to the comments of the people around her about Li Qinguan, her heart was bleeding. But she disdained to argue. because she had already regarded these people as dead. Once her strength rose, she would immediately kill all those who had slandered Li Qingguang here. Yes, her mind was distorted. It can be said that she is a fanatical star chaser, and Li Chengwang is her star. Lu Na is a student in Xianjing City, but not in the same number 1 middle school as Su Ming, but in a vocational high school. At this moment, she clenched her fists and her heart was full of hatred. Li Chengwang, a knife maniac from the next city, killed her sister in the novice copy. She saw it with her own eyes. And she herself, because of her lack of strength, could only hide in the bushes nearby and watch the whole process. Her sister's tragic death made her heart ache. The extreme sadness soon made her mind unable to bear it, so the brain activated the self-protection mechanism, transformed that hatred into a weird obsession. Lu Na began to indulge in Li Chengwang's powerful strength. The twisted psychology of admiring the strong dominated her mentality. She even felt that the scene of Li Chengwang killing her sister was a bit handsome. Perhaps this is the so-called Stockholm Syndrome. Chapter 42, Colored Gold Black Sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In fact, in the final analysis, Lu Na had long been resentful of her sister. She was a 7-star professional, and her talent was very good, but her sister was an 8-star, taking away all her glory. Mother poured all her love and resources into her sister, so she didn't really love her sister from the bottom of her heart. It was just secular morality that framed her. When Li Chengwang killed her sister in the dungeon, at that moment, the shackles in her heart, all the rules and regulations, were also cut off. Morality and family affection, in her eyes now, are meaningless things. Li Chengwang killed her sister, and she had to thank Li Chengwang. In general, Lu Na is Li Chengwang's little fan girl. After the challenge of the new dungeon ended, she immediately went to Wuyang City to find Li Chengwang, wanting to form a team and challenge other dungeons together in the future. She wanted to be with Li Chengwang forever. Being with a powerful person, she will also shine. But when she arrived, she found that Li Chengwang had been devastated. The way he exited the dungeon shocked all the students of Wuyang No. 3 Middle School. The right hand was full of scars, blood, and broken. It seemed that Li Chengwang was defeated by something. She was also shocked at that time. She will never forget the look in Li Chengwang's eyes at that time. What kind of look was that? Dazed, unbelievable, lonely, painful, and angry, all of them. This made her feel distressed. Look at the ranking of the dungeon at that time. Li Chengwang was defeated and became the 2nd place. That Su Ming sword master surpassed her madness. This not only makes Li Chengwang suffer, but also makes her suffer. She does not allow anyone to be stronger than Li Chengwang. She is also a 7-star professional with good talent. For this reason, she also wants to challenge the Tower of Heavenly Silence and improve her strength. Lu Na's dream is to assist Li Chengwang and become the strongest, her profession. It's a coincidence, an assassin. She wants to keep up with Li Chengwang's pace and become stronger. She wants to help Li Chengwang climb all the way to the top. It is this belief that makes her begin to fear no challenges. She took firm steps and slowly walked towards the Tower of Heavenly Silence. At this time, an ordinary young man came towards her and brushed past her. It was Su Ming. There was no scar on Su Ming's body. It was impossible to tell that he had killed all the way to the 20th floor, because his self-healing factor blood helped him heal all the scars, big and small. When they passed by, Lu Na was a little surprised. She felt as if a bloodthirsty beast passed by her, with a terrifying temperament. It was only a moment. She took a breath and turned around. Behind her, there was nothing. Is it an illusion? Su Ming had disappeared in the crowd. That killing god, couldn't it be him? She breathed rapidly, a little unbelievable. From his appearance, he looks like a sword master Su Ming. A sword master, so weak in the early stage. At most he got the 1st place in the copy by luck. How could he rush to the 20th floor of the Tianji Tower? It shouldn't be him. She shook her head slowly, dispelling the guess in her heart. However, the killing intent in her eyes did not diminish at all. In her heart, Su Ming would still die in the end, because he surpassed Li Chengwang. At this time, another person holding a long sword walked out of the Tianji Tower, Li Chengwang. His eyes were dazed, even a little sluggish. He walked out of the tower with slow steps, like a walking corpse. Lu Na's eyes were shining with stars. As if she saw her idol, she rushed forward. Li Chengwang, Li Chengwang seemed not to see it and passed by her. I didn't lose. I didn't lose. At this time, Li Chengwang could be heard muttering these words from his pale lips. Lu Na was stunned for a moment, and then her heart was bleeding. He knew that Li Chengwang had suffered a huge blow. She quickly supported Li Chengwang and walked outside. Seeing the ranking outside the tower, Li Chengwang was even more shocked. His eyes were trembling. Kill. Kill God number 1, 20th level. His voice was filled with extreme shock, trembling, and confusion. It was possible to surpass him, but surpass him by so many levels. This made his worldview completely collapse. Li Chengwang didn't stand firmly, and fell down. Kneeling on his knees, his body fell on the ground, making a crisp sound. Then, he laughed. Ha 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 ha. His laughter was a little crazy. The people around him saw this scene, but they didn't mock him, because it was too miserable. The former hero, now completely decadent. Su Ming walked slowly towards the forging shop, while opening his personal information. Su Ming, title, God of Death, effective title, First Blood, New King, level 19, 5455 / 12,000 experience, profession, Sword God, mythical level, the only one in the world, strength, 55, constitution, 60, agility, 200, spirit, 100, lucky, 50, bloodline, immortality, A, self-healing factor, C, talent, sublimation of all things, original sword body, automatic cultivation, skills, killing. God 1, full hidden God step, insightful eye, thunder sword technique, sword drawing instant cut, sword martial master, rainstorm sword, sword control, Tianluo sword tomb, spiritual blade, Lingbo Weibu. Su Ming came to the forging shop and found the blacksmith. How's the sword? Su Ming stepped forward and asked. The blacksmith drew out a long sword behind him. It's done. The sword in front of me is completely different from the original Xiangang blood sword. First of all, the sword body is no longer made of pure jet black material. Is a combination of multiple alloy materials that are refined into wonderful colors. The background color is pure steel white, but under the reflection of sunlight, it seems to be shining with various colors, like some rare ores. At the same time, the length of the sword also changed, became slightly longer than before. The tip presents an acute angle of 30 degrees, which looks extremely sharp. The handle of the sword is made of wolf bone, with a layer of animal skin wrapped around it. Su Ming held it in his hand, feeling only slightly warm and soft, and very comfortable. I scanned the information on this sword. Colored gold Xianfeng sword, gold top grade. After being forged by the blacksmith with multiple composite materials, the grade was upgraded to gold level. This sword's sharpness and toughness have all gone up a notch. Affix, drinking red. After this sword kills a monster, it absorbs the contaminated blood and heals the owner's injury. Bloodshed, after killing a monster with this sword, will temporarily increase the holder's attributes by 20 points, lasting for 1 minute. Alloy blade, this sword is far sharper than ordinary high-grade gold weapons, and can even reach platinum level. Chapter 43, Village of the Dead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 43 Dead Village. All the original affixes of the black steel blood sword are retained. Not only that, but it also has an additional affix effect, alloy blade. The sharpness of this sword is comparable to other gold-level weapons. Su Ming was very satisfied and waved it a few times, the blade flashing with cold light. Dragon-inlaid broken sword, shadow stream sword. With the addition of this weapon, I have 3 swords. No one is lower than gold quality. The dragon-inlaid broken sword is even more diamond level. It can be said that in a short period of time, I don't have to worry about the weapon being enough. Putting the sword back into its sheath. I feel very bad. Su Ming already knew what his peak posture looked like, a long sword with shadow flow in his hand, and a broken sword inlaid with a dragon in his right hand. At the same time, use the sword control skill to activate the Xianfeng sword to fly in the air and slash the enemy, plus the spiritual blade, that is equivalent to being able to control 4 swords at the same time and kill the enemy. This is terrible. This can be as simple as 1 times 4. don't forget, Su Ming still has the talent of the original sword body, which can permanently increase the power of his swordsmanship, 10 times times 4, that's 40 times, the lethality of one is basically equivalent to that of several squads combined. The only good thing is that Su Ming's mental strength is sufficient. Simultaneously activating 4 sword skills is something that other professionals would never dare to dream of. Even if Su Ming could do it, his peak defeat would only last for a few seconds at most. Know when you can awaken the skills of dual sword mastery. Su Ming thought to himself, afterwards, took the broken sword set with a dragon and placed it in front of the blacksmith. Boss, make me 2 more scabbards. A long sword scabbard, specially made. A dagger scabbard. Su Ming prepared to place the sharp edge of the dragon-inlaid broken sword in its broken form in the sword box behind his back. If the sword is broken, place it on your waist. In this way, you can achieve your goals when facing the enemy. Suddenly a pure sword flew from behind and cut his throat. Who could have predicted it? The boss took the dragon-embedded broken sword with a slightly startled look in his eyes. Young man, what is the quality of your weapon? That when Su Ming heard this, his expression changed and he said. Platinum low grade. This sword belongs to me, and its data cannot be scanned. Only with my own insight, skill, I can check other people's information at will, and I can see clearly even under my pants. Hearing this, the blacksmith raised his sword in front of him and marveled. Wonderful, so wonderful, this craftsmanship and this forging pattern. It's just a low-grade platinum weapon. The blacksmith's eyes became a little obsessed, touched the broken part with his hand, with a confident expression on his face, but didn't ask any further questions. After all, if the customer wants to conceal the quality of the weapon, he has no right to ask. This is professional ethics. Without saying anything, he immediately put the weapon on the stand and measured it with a series of instruments: length, thickness, sword style. Well, this sword is too sharp. An ordinary wooden scabbard might not be able to withstand it. I will use black ironwood to make these 2 scabbards for you. The price may be a bit expensive. 30,000 advent coins. The blacksmith touched his chin and said. Su Ming nodded and spent the money without hesitation. Black ironwood is a rare natural wood, as black as iron, extremely hard, yet very light. It is a very expensive scabbard material and the price is worth it. The boss did not quote randomly. Soon, Su Ming's scabbard was finished. It's 2, one is long and the other is short. The short one is like a dagger sheath, hanging on the waist, and the long one is like a sword, which can be carried on the back. The special scabbard is a double-layer sandwich that can hold part of the blade of the dragon-inlaid broken sword and the entire colored gold Xianfeng sword at the same time. The original scabbard can be eliminated. Su Ming was carrying a long sword on his back, with a broken sword hanging on his waist, wearing a gray robe. He looked well armed. Okay, it's time to kill the big snake. Su Ming's eyes flashed with excitement, gently tapped the Tianta Hui card. The next moment, a transparent screen appeared in front of Su Ming's task list appeared in it. Conquer the Python King. Location, Nanli district of Sichuan Wilderness, deep in the forest. Hunting a python king in the wild forest of Nanli district. It has already swallowed several members of the Tianta society, and its strength is terrifying. Its current level is about 25, so please be extremely careful. Reward, 10,000 race coins x 10,000, random platinum skill scroll x1. After completing this task, you will officially become a platinum level member of the Sky Tower Club. It costs 10,000 advent coins to teleport. Will it be teleported to the mission area? Su Ming's eyes were solemn. He took a deep breath, and clicked the coordinate button on the screen. Teleport it directly. It's more convenient and faster. I don't have so much time to waste. Su Ming said calmly. The next moment, S figure was illusory and disappeared directly into the space. When we saw it again, it was already a big forest. It was raining and there was a moist smell in the air. All around are the fragrance of grass and earth. The smell in this forest is really good, different from the lifeless city. Su Ming smiled slightly and said lightly. This is the smell of nature. The air here is very fresh, completely different from the bloody smell in the copy of the frenzy forest, but this is the wilderness. Nowadays, Blue Star is full of mutant beasts and monsters, and if you are not careful, You will die without a burial place, only the city is slightly safer. In other words, the danger level here is not lower than that in the copy. Su Ming frowned slightly and walked slowly. His face was very cautious. He opened the virtual screen map and headed towards the target location of the mission. After walking for about 10 minutes, Su Ming came to a village in the wilderness. Some people who have not awakened their professions will be destined to be laborers for a lifetime if they stay in the city. In order to escape, many people without professions will choose to escape to the wilderness and build a village, but such a life is free, but also full of dangers. You may be killed by wild beasts at any time. When Su Ming came to the village, he immediately smelled a strong smell of blood, and the stench of corpses. He looked around. There was no living person in this village, all were dead bodies. There were about dozens of bodies, who died tragically here. The village was full of ruins, as if corroded by something. All the bodies died in a miserable state, which was shocking, and almost all died with their eyes closed. No one was spared, old or young, and they were all bitten to death by some kind of giant. Su Ming came to the body of a little girl and squatted down to observe carefully. He found that the villagers here all had some animal characteristics, for example, cat ears, mouse tails, eagle legs. This is a half-beast village. Su Ming's eyes were solemn. There are many races coexisting in this world, including beasts and elves, which is not surprising. He reached out and wiped a layer of mucus on the wall. The skin on his fingers curled and rotted, and the pain was obvious. It seemed to be snake venom. Maybe it was my mission target, the big python, who did it. Chapter 44 Giant Snake Dung. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Ming quickly left the village and went deep into the dense forest. There are too many corpses in this village, and the smell of blood will attract many unnecessary beasts. Leave as soon as possible. It didn't take long for Su Ming to find a pile of giant snake excrement. It is very huge and surrounded by flies. It can be said that this huge pile of excrement is taller than Su Ming's entire body. As soon as I got close, I smelled a strong stench. The heaviest thing is that there are many human limbs and bone structures in this pile of feces. It was still dripping with blood, which was shocking to see, because snakes are cold-blooded animals. Their digestive organs are not very powerful. Many bones, feathers, and leather objects cannot be digested and will be excreted in the feces. Su Ming was choked and couldn't breathe, but he still stood there and scanned the information on this thing with his insightful eyes. Giant snake excrement, quality, junk. Snake excrement has distinctive characteristics, accompanied by a strong fishy and rancid smell, and contains a large number of superbacteria. If you dip your weapon into it, you can enchant it with poison properties for a week. This excrement is still very fresh. Judging from the shape of this excrement, the giant snake went to the northeast. Su Ming's eyes were solemn. It seems that we are very close to the big snake. It's actually enchanted with poisonous properties. This shit is really extraordinary. Su Ming touched his chin and murmured, but he was not prepared to insert his precious sword into it. Maybe the enemy is not disgusted yet, and he may be disgusted first. Su Ming walked quickly towards the northeast. Soon, he gradually discovered that there were some blood stains and human footprints on the surface. Is it possible that there are still people alive in that small village? Su Ming guessed in his mind. It just so happens that if you find the living person, you can ask about the big snake. Su Ming followed the blood trail and came to a remote road. This path leads directly to a cave. The cave is very shallow, barely providing shelter from the wind and rain, and there is not much space inside. Su Ming looked solemn and stepped in slowly. As soon as he entered, he found a person sleeping in the cave, to be precise. No one, and the orcs. A little girl. He looked about 13 or 14 years old, with a pair of cat ears on his head. She was wearing animal skin clothes and sleeping on her face. Her skin was smooth and fair. There is only a simple straw mat on the surface. There was a long wound on her ankle. Blood was flowing. There was some yellow pus, and it seemed to be infected. Su Ming immediately scanned her information. Leah, race, orc. Level 3, 0/300 experience points. Occupation, assassin. Quantity, 9. Physique, 9. Agility, 27. Spirit, 9. Lucky, 9. Talent, Catman bloodline. Her natural body is strong, and her agility attribute effect is 1.5. times that of normal professionals. Skills, silent steps, claw strike. The bloodline of half-orcs is different from that of humans. They can awaken their profession earlier. Su Ming was a little surprised that this orc girl in a wilderness mountain village was actually quite talented, achieved 9 stars. Before Su Ming could make any move, Leah's cat ears suddenly twitched, then, she suddenly opened her eyes, she took off the rabbit and jumped up all of a sudden. Her movements were agile and flexible. He took a step back, away from Su Ming. Her waist was slightly bent, and there was obvious hostility in her eyes. The whole figure looks like a cat with fried hair, even in sleep. He is so alert. This is the hearing of an orc cat. Her hand held a rough dagger, 5 sharp claws stretched out from the fingertips of his left hand. A pair of dark red eyes with large vertical pupils stared at Su Ming closely, with a hint of fear in them. She looked at Su Ming's appearance and was obviously a little surprised. Human. You, who are you? She asked cautiously. Su Ming looked at her fighting posture coldly, but did not draw his sword, and showed the Tiantui token on his waist. Little girl, I have no hostility. I'm here to hunt monsters. Su Ming said calmly. When Leah heard the words Tian Tower meeting, the hostility in her eyes subsided. Oh, so it's like this. She suddenly understood, stood up straight, and restrained her fighting posture. She grew up in this wilderness village and rarely saw humans, therefore, she was naturally hostile to Su Ming at first, but the members of the Tiandui are different. Among humans, the organization that specializes in hunting monsters is relatively friendly. When she was in the village, she also met several humans from the Tianta society and became familiar with them, because there is a giant snake that has been wreaking havoc around the village for several days. The Tianta society sent out several teams, but they all died in the belly of the snake. Are you here to hunt that mutated giant snake? Leah said. Su Ming nodded. Brother, please come back. The Tower Club has sent several teams. But those people, without exception, died in the belly of the giant snake. She was still young, but her eyes showed exhaustion. What's more, you are only one person. Don't die. She looked at Su Ming and said seriously. When Su Ming heard this, his expression remained as usual. He immediately took the lead and asked, Leah, do you know the whereabouts of that giant snake? The rhythm of the conversation was forcefully guided by Su Ming. The little girl nodded subconsciously. After all, half-orcs don't have any evil intentions. Hey. No, why should I nod? Also, how do you know my name? Kitten girl's eyes widened in surprise. I don't care about those details. Let me ask you, was your village slaughtered by that giant snake? Su Ming asked. Leah nodded, with a hint of sadness in her eyes. Ah. I am the only one in our village who survived. Her ears were drooped and she was in a very depressed mood. Half-orcs live in groups and have a vague concept of family, but even so, she still feels sad. After all, they are villagers who live together day and night. She saw with her own eyes the cruelty of the giant snake. A man cried alone in the cave for several days without regaining his composure. Do you want revenge? Su Ming asked. Think. She recalled what happened to her friends and elders in the village from childhood to adulthood, and she even felt hatred in her heart. Speak firmly. Su Ming was persuasive. Think. She bit her teeth softly, her emotions guided by Su Ming. Little girl, you lead the way, and I will help you get revenge. Su Ming smiled slightly and said, his was resting on the hilt of the sword at his waist, looking relaxed. There seems to be no pressure. This kind of movement gives people the feeling that they are in control, but it is actually unfathomable. The little girl was a little surprised when she saw Su Ming's appearance. Brother, are you really sure? She was still a little scared. Believe me, I am stronger than the previous members of the Tianta society. I'll kill that big snake. Su Ming took a step forward and promised with a solemn expression. Hearing this, Leah clenched her fists. Finally, she agreed. That's good. I'll take you there. I know where S-Lair is. Window, _tabula equals window, _tabula, push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target_type, mix. Chapter 45, Flying the Sword to Kill the Enemy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'll take you there. I know where its nest is. Leah said, gurgle, but then, her stomach gurgled, her face flushed slightly, feeling a little ashamed. The growling of a hungry stomach is a very shameful thing among the orcs. After all, this is a race that is proud of hunting and eating meat. Hunger means incompetence. Over time, this has formed the unique culture of the orcs. Ming also knows the culture of the orcs. In the past, he also had several orc teammates. He looked calm and immediately opened his personal panel. In the store, he bought a fresh crispy roasted lamb leg. It was taken out of the personal space, still steaming. Ming handed it to her directly. You are too weak now. I'm afraid you will faint after walking a few steps. Eat this and replenish your energy. Ming said, her eyes almost lit up as she looked at the lamb leg. She had been in this cave for several days and was already starving. Thank you. As a half-orc, she was quite polite. She took the lamb leg, sat cross-legged on the ground, and began to eat it. The first time she ate it, she was amazed. The various spices of human cumin, chili powder, salt, etc. were all things half-orcs had never tasted. To her, it was extremely delicious. In a few seconds, she ate the whole lamb leg. It should be said that half-orcs are really fierce when it comes to eating. Afterwards, Ming bought a bottle of healing potion in the human store and handed it to her. Your leg is injured. Ming said. Yeah. She nodded, took the potion, and drank it in one gulp. The orcs grew up in the village, so they didn't know what politeness was. Those were all hypocrisy that only humans have. Her heart was truly pure and natural. She drank a bottle of potion as if it were a drink. Soon, the injury on her ankle was completely healed. Thank you, big brother. She felt energetic and thanked him quickly. Ming smiled faintly. She was also worried about the poison. What a silly girl. It's good that she is a straightforward person and easy to control. Big brother, you are much better than the previous members of the Tienta Club. Before they hunted the big snake, they also stopped in our village and asked about some situations. But they all looked down on us orcs, and looked superior. They even said that our food was unpalatable. Leah clenched her fists and was a little inflated. For the orcs, saying that the food was unpalatable was a huge offense. Ming just had a calm face. Humans are indeed like this. You have to be careful in the future. Not everyone is as friendly as you. He reminded her casually. The little girl heard this and remembered it firmly in her heart. Let's go, I'll take you to find the big snake. She scurried out flexibly and quickly. Ming followed closely behind her, not a step away. One person and one cat, running at an extremely fast speed in the dense forest. She was very flexible and made no sound when she ran. She was also very fast. No wonder she was able to escape from the village and become the only survivor. Soon, Ming saw the traces of the giant snake winding through. The soil was soft and formed a huge crawling trail. The forest was drizzling and the ground was very slippery. If she hadn't led the way, the traces would have been washed away soon, and it would take some effort to find the nest. Ming only knew that the giant snake hibernated, but he didn't know the exact location of its nest, so it was all thanks to her. By the way, big brother, I haven't asked your name yet. Ming. Okay, I'll call you Brother Ming from now on. A few hours later, the two came to a dark maple forest. There was a special fragrance in it. It was only found in snakes. Only extremely large mutant pythons would have such a strong smell of snake gall. The air was filled with a bitter smell that made people sick. Ming's eyes were cold, and his hands slowly rested on the dragon-inlaid broken sword at his waist. Brother Ming, the nest of the big snake is just ahead. Leah took Ming to lean against a huge tree and said in a concentrated voice. Ming looked out and saw a huge python living in the dense forest in front of him. Its body is curled up, all black, and covered with steel-like scales, stacked one after another. Its body is extremely sturdy, and roughly estimated, its diameter is more than 2 or 3 meters. Its body length reaches dozens of meters. It coils up like a dragon. It can be said to be a winding giant python. It closes its eyes tightly, buries its head in the disc formed by its body, and is sleeping soundly. Very good, it is hibernating as expected. At this time, if I find its head and use the god of killing, I will definitely be able to severely injure or even kill this giant python. While it is defenseless, my attack has a very high critical hit rate. Agility attribute can increase critical hit rate and critical hit damage. When the enemy is weak, the critical hit rate will be further increased. Su Ming is very confident that he can hit a critical hit. Suddenly, a breeze swept over. Su Ming's eyes suddenly changed slightly. The mission target was right in front of him, but he calmed down. Su Ming's eyes became gloomy, because he felt a burst of murderous aura, and it was definitely an animal. Before hunting prey, animals would also feel hungry and bloodthirsty, but that was hunting for survival. The murderous aura would not be so strong. Basically, only humans would kill for the sake of killing. This murderous aura was very vivid. Su Ming was very sensitive and felt it immediately. His eyes flickered slightly, and he raised his hand and clenched it. He pulled out the Xianfeng sword behind him. In the rainy rain forest, the alloy blade of this sword reflected the flashes of colorful ink green. Then, the blade shook with his wrist and flew directly into the air. Whoosh! The Xianfeng sword turned into a black light, extremely fast. It pierced directly into the branch. Snap! A few drops of blood dripped from the tree. It fell in front of Su Ming. At the same time, a muffled groan was heard. Leah's face was shocked. What's going on? Why is there blood? She raised her head and looked at the branch. I saw a few illusory figures squatting on the branch that was more than 10 meters high. They were wearing translucent camouflage uniforms, almost blending with the leaves. It was difficult for ordinary people to see them with the naked eye. One of the most burly and strong men had a huge wound on his shoulder cut by Su Ming. Su Ming sneered. There is really an ambush. Originally he was not sure, but just felt the murderous aura and tried it out. Unexpectedly, he hit it directly. That's right, there are dense forests everywhere here. Apart from the trees, where else can you hide? Damn it, we've been discovered. The faces of the people on the tree were icy. They originally wanted to wait for Su Ming to fight the big snake before taking action. That way, they would be safe. Unexpectedly, Su Ming was so alert. We can only kill him now. 3 people jumped down from the tall tree. At the same time, each of them activated their skills and attacked. Su Ming immediately scanned the information of these people. Chapter 46. 3 swords come out at the same time, breaking 3 moves in a row. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Ming immediately scanned the information of these people. A brute warrior, an ice swordsman, and a barrier mage, they are all second-level professionals. Their skills are also powerful. The brute warrior attacked first, holding his hammer high, with red light flashing on it. It fell from the sky. This move is the brute warrior's signature skill, head smash. If it is a critical hit, it can directly smash out the brain of the person. In addition to the attributes of the second level, ordinary first-level professionals may die with one hit. The ice swordsman followed closely behind, holding a white long sword in his hand, with ice attached to the blade and light white smoke flowing. The 2 people, one in front and one behind, fell from the left and above Su Ming. That would have been fine. The mage on the tree also condensed a large ice cone and attacked Su Ming. The 3 of them occupied a high geographical location, which was extremely advantageous. If the attack was not handled well, this move alone could completely kill Su Ming. Su Ming could avoid it, but if he did, the orc girl would be beaten to death. Su Ming only had high agility, but his defense was not strong. In other words, he could not avoid it, nor could he resist it. There was only one way left. That was to counter it with one move. Su Ming's eyes flashed with cold light, and his mind moved slightly. Whoosh! The Xianfeng sword in the air turned back and landed in his hand. Then, he suddenly moved his steps. He directly activated the thunder sword art. Boom! Thunder exploded, and the light of electric current flashed, filling Su Ming's sword blade. Then, he slashed with a sword. Ding! The brute warrior's hammer was directly blocked by Su Ming. His eyes were shocked. I am a brute warrior, and my strength attribute is far beyond that of ordinary people. How could you defeat me with just one sword? What's more, I am a second-level warrior. that he was shocked, he only felt that the sword was wrapped in terrifying power. He flew backwards all of a sudden. Moreover, when he lifted the hammer, he found that there was a deep gully on it. His eyes were shocked. After Su Ming learned this move, he kept moving, like flowing clouds and water. He pulled out a long sword from his shadow flow long sword. The shadow flow long sword was activated by the sword control skill, suspended in the air, and made a sword chanting sound. The next moment, he flew into the air and stabbed the ice swordsman head-on. The flying shadow sword left a long black mark in the air. From bottom to top, the sword body was like a real shadow, which could penetrate physical defense and looked deep and terrifying. The ice swordsman was horrified to the extreme. He thought that he had a sure win and would definitely be able to kill Su Ming. With the brute force warrior attacking in front, how could Su Ming be able to make a second move so quickly after removing the hammer? This was simply unbelievable. The ice swordsman had a cold face and held the sword in his hand tightly. Humph, even if you can make a second move, what if? I am a second-level master, I can directly suppress your sword and kill you. He roared and turned his wrist. A layer of ice shell was attached to the blade, which was enchanted with ice properties and could freeze the enemy. There was a hint of killing intent in S eyes, as if he felt that he had won. At this moment, was even thinking about how much money he could get after killing this kid and going to Zhongtang Xiaoye to claim the reward. Would he be able to save enough for his retirement fund directly? Grinned and licked his lips. His smile was bloodthirsty. Whoosh. However, could no longer smile soon. S expression was completely frozen, because when S sword intersected with Su Ming's sword, S sword was undoubtedly shattered. Then, the shadow long sword pierced S chest with incomparable accuracy. The severe pain came, causing to spit out a mouthful of blood. The blood volume dropped madly, fell heavily to the ground and fell in front of Su Ming. S eyes were dazed, and it was a little hard to understand. They were both swordsman-type professions, but he was a second-level transformation. Whether it was attributes or skill quality, they were higher than. How could he lose to a newcomer like? At this time, the mage on the treetop also knew that she had met a tough guy. She danced lightly with her staff, directly activating her strongest skill, and poured all her mental power into it, without holding back. This kid can only resist the killing moves of the two of us, which should be the limit. This attack, if you don't die, you will be seriously injured, that she said expressionlessly. After all, Su Ming had already used two swords at the same time. As a result, her ice cone in the air suddenly shattered. This shocked her a little. No. Impossible. When she looked closely, she found that a blue spiritual blade had appeared from her deadly ice cone. It was condensed from pure spiritual power. Su Ming moved 3 swords in an instant and solved all the killing moves. How could a first-level swordsman take on the skills of 3 second-level professionals without any injury? That she stood on the treetop with a look of horror. She began to realize that something was wrong. This kid's real fighting ability is definitely not as simple as a newcomer. But before she could make the next move, Su Ming had already moved. Whoosh! The spiritual blade slashed in mid-air, flying towards her throat. Damn, this kid's swordsmanship is too terrifying, more powerful than the second-level swordsmanship, and can even easily break my ice cone. If I get hit by this move, I'm afraid I will be seriously injured. That she gritted her teeth and had to give up the attack and choose to activate defensive skills. Barrier. Buzz. A translucent magic field appeared in front of her, surrounding her whole body. Su Ming's spiritual blade slashed suddenly. The spiritual blade was stuck on the edge of the barrier, unable to move forward. She sneered. A turn is still a turn. My spiritual power is so strong, as long as you can't kill me, I can keep grinding you to death. What's more, there are 3 of us, and you only have 1. Su Ming below, however, had no expression on his face. Oh. Really? Su Ming hooked his finger lightly. Swoosh. The power of the spiritual blade suddenly increased. The origin sword body operated without reservation, 10 times the power. The power of swordsmanship is originally added by the agility attribute. Although Su Ming's strength attribute is not high, the frontal strength competition is weak, but the power of swordsmanship, with the extremely high agility attribute addition, is matched with the origin sword body. This power is like a nuclear weapon. Bang! Suddenly, Su Ming's spiritual blade directly shattered her barrier protection. The barrier was shattered, the azure spiritual blade directly penetrated her neck, half of the bones were exposed. Blood was gushing into the sky. Her eyes were filled with horror, and she took a deep breath. "How is it possible?" that she murmured, and the next moment she used a life-saving skill to escape. She landed 10 meters in front of Su Ming, panting. The distance of the mage's early teleportation skills was very short, and even if it was the second turn, it could not escape too far. Fear appeared in her eyes. Her health value was directly hit the bottom. She hurriedly drank a bottle of potion and recovered. The three people looked at Su Ming, and at this moment they were all shocked. You are definitely not a first-turn rookie. Damn it, I was tricked by the young master this time. Several people gritted their teeth. Chapter 47, Kill 3 people instantly, crushing them with ease. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Ming's face was expressionless, and he didn't even take a breath after dispelling 3 killing moves. He flicked it casually with a graceful movement. The shadow stream sword in mid-air spun back and surrounded him to protect his body. Then, the spiritual blade also flew past him, spinning, surrounding, and floating around him. Seeing this scene, Leah's eyes were dumbfounded. This human being is actually so powerful, even a little handsome. According to the aesthetics of orcs, they must be tall and thick, burly like a cow, and handsome. Su Ming is thin and has a thin body. How can he be related to the word handsome of a half-orc? But after seeing Su Ming, she felt that her aesthetics had changed somewhat. Why are you so strong? That she was extremely shocked, and then asked again. Who are these people and why are they attacking you? That she looked at the people around her with a look of surprise. Why do you want to kill each other? Aren't you of the same race? That she cautiously ran behind Su Ming to hide, while looking at everyone and asked. Su Ming was silent and did not answer her. Fighting with each other, perhaps, this is how it is in human bones. You just said the word, young master. So it turns out that Zhang Tang sent the killer. Su Ming looked around at the people and said coldly, saying that, he stepped out directly and stepped on the face of the ice swordsman in front of, press his head into the mud. His face was painful and angry. He gritted his teeth and tried to stand up. He is a second-level person. But because he was seriously injured, he couldn't break free. In the end, Su Ming stepped on him. He wanted to take out the potion and drink it to treat the chest injury. Snap. The spiritual blade flew out directly and chopped his potion into pieces. He couldn't treat the wound at all. After the shadow stream sword penetrated his chest, his mental power would be lost anytime and anywhere, so now he can't even use his skills. There was also a wound on the shoulder of the brute warrior, which Su Ming had cut with the Xianfeng sword earlier. Su Ming fought 1 against 3 and was unscathed, severely injuring 3 second-level killers. Looking at the movements, he seems to be doing it with ease. This kind of strength not only surprised them, but also made them feel terrified. I couldn't help but even my eyes became a little fearful. You do have some strength. But we were just careless. Do you really think you can fight 1 against 3? The female mage raised her head in embarrassment and looked at Su Ming, with murderous intent in her eyes. She had just been severely injured by Su Ming's sword and was almost on the verge of death. Therefore, she directly drank her most important and most precious bottle of healing potion, which was worth 100,000 advent coins, can instantly heal most injuries. If she didn't drink that medicine but used ordinary treatment medicine, there would be no time to treat her and she would die, so she was very angry. She paid a huge price, and even if she killed Su Ming, she might not be able to get her money back, so even to vent her anger, she must kill Su Ming today. She raised her hand and shook it, and a green barrier emerged, covering the ice swordsman. As a barrier mage, she is best at barrier spells: protective barrier, defensive barrier, healing barrier, confining barrier. Whether it's attacking, protecting teammates, or restricting enemies, she can do it all through the barrier style. Seeing the green barrier, he immediately separated the soles of Su Ming's shoes from the swordsman's face. Then, he began to slowly heal his body. This swordsman's name is Song Buqing, and he has very high attributes. His main bonus point is agility, and his secondary department is strength. Unfortunately, he was severely injured by the shadow stream sword and had no strength for a long time, so he had to bear the humiliation at Su Ming's feet. Su Ming stared at the barrier, with a dull killing intent in his eyes. I didn't expect Zhang Tang to be so impatient. This just finished playing the novice copy, and he sent someone to kill. Su Ming's face was expressionless as he struck out with the Shadow Stream sword, poof. This sword directly pierced through the healing barrier, then, a blow penetrated the head of the ice swordsman. This blow completely killed him. Longguo took his death lightly and never closed his eyes. The eyes of the female mage and the brute warrior suddenly trembled. One blow, shatter the barrier. Damn it, this is level 25, no one can do it even if it's close to rank 3. There is a sword. The brute force warrior's face turned pale, and a touch of fear appeared in his heart. At this moment, he was sure in his heart that this guy was definitely not a professional. There may even be people who are not newbies in this class at all. Master Zhang Tang, giving them this assassination mission is actually a death mission. Looking at the dead body of his companion, he was already feeling a little panicked in his heart. When a person panics, his judgment on combat will immediately slow down. Su Ming is the best at seizing these opportunities. With a cold expression on his face, he raised his hand and held the sword blade in his hand, then take one step forward. Longguo took a slight step and fully deployed it. His movements were so fast that there was almost an afterimage. The heavy rainwater surrounded him, and he was blown around by the phoenix, is almost invisible, and a simple rain diagram, where his feet touched, the waves rippled. Before the blink of an eye, Su Ming had already come close to him. The brute warrior looked at Su Ming in front of him, and was extremely horrified. What kind of body movement is this? How can it be so fast? It's almost equivalent to teleportation. I have to activate the iron skin skill quickly, otherwise I will not be able to resist his sword. At this moment, these three thoughts appeared in his mind. He raised his hands and activated iron skin, crack. Su Ming's sword directly slashed his neck, the sound of steel rang in his ears. Fortunately, I have time to defend. He breathed a sigh of relief. If Su Ming's sword slashed at him without any defense, he would die. Su Ming's eyes remained calm, steel skin. He had expected this. Using the eye of insight to see through everyone's skills allowed Su Ming to always have control over the battle. Cutting through steel was not a difficult task for Su Ming. He shook his wrist and activated the thunder sword technique with all his strength, swish. In addition, the special texture of the shadow flow long sword could pass through physical materials and reach the source, causing shadow damage, so the barbarian warrior's steel skin did not have much effect. This sword directly cut across his throat. No blood flowed out, instead, a pitch-black liquid flowed. When the steel skin skill was activated, the blood in the whole body would also become special. The barbarian warrior was stunned, and he couldn't believe that his throat was cut. His blood volume was instantly reduced by 60%. No. You can't die. You still have defensive skills, and you still have healing potions. Yes. Yes, you still have teammates. Wang Yu, her barrier will definitely save you. The brute warrior turned his head and looked, but found that the female mage, Wang Yu, had already escaped. Su Ming struck a sword, and then followed, or rather, it was not him who struck a sword, but the shadow sword. Su Ming triggered the effect of the shadow sword set, and an additional shadow slash, swish. A sword beheaded. The brute warrior also fell. The female mage was extremely panicked and turned to flee. She directly abandoned her teammates. Su Ming looked at the direction she ran away and sneered, directly urged the black steel sword and chased after her. Su Ming can't leave a single person alive. Wang Yu's eyes were filled with despair. Her teleportation cooldown was too long, and the barrier couldn't stop her. She didn't have the money to buy good life-saving equipment, so she was doomed. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to let us know. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 48 The Giant Snake Awakens. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Ming flew in mid-air with his sword, slashing at an extremely fast speed, breaking through the air to chase. He chopped the rain in the air into pieces. The color of the Xianfeng sword was reflected in the air. Wang Yu turned her head and looked at him, her eyes suddenly filled with despair. She knew that she could not escape. At this moment, she had countless resentful thoughts. Regret and anger. Damn Zhang Tang, that she couldn't help but clench her fists and said fiercely, Wang Yu was a flower in Xianjing back then, a school flower with 6-star talent. But she dedicated her best years to you, young Master Zhang Tang. In the past 2 years, she only got 100,000 advent coins, which was just like sending beggars. Finally, she was sent to carry out this assassination mission. It was a suicide operation, and she was sent to die. The 2 family assassins who were traveling with her were actually pretty good, but compared to Su Ming, they were just food for the taking. The Su Ming in front of her was not a swordsman at all, but a monster. Zhang Tang either underestimated Su Ming, or wanted her to die. She collapsed and despaired. Suddenly, her eyes were dull. It seemed that she had thought of something. Then, she laughed grimly. Ha ha ha, even if I die, I will drag you down with me, that she roared, and then raised her hand to activate a spell. Instant spell, flame barrier, directly ignited the tail of the giant snake in the nest in the distance. That's right, she chose to wake up the big snake before she died. This would make Su Ming die here. Her crazy actions made Leah, who was standing beside her, terrified. She had lived in the village all her life, and all the orcs were foolish and indifferent to the world. Now, she witnessed the bloody struggle between humans with her own eyes, and she knew what cruelty is. What madness is. Even if they die, they will drag their own kind down with them. The human race is so cruel. She felt a chill down her spine. She recalled that she had taken Su Ming's food and drink without hesitation. She was really unguarded. She looked at Su Ming again, and there was a little fear in her eyes. It can be said that at this moment, this orc girl has grown up. Swish. Su Ming's sword pierced her body. She died and fell to the ground. Su Ming's face was solemn. He didn't expect that this woman would be so crazy. If his sword failed to kill her, she would wake up the giant snake and die in the end. It can be said that she was committing suicide. The next moment, a voice sounded, kill the second-level 3-person team. Wang Yu, Barrier Mage, level 21, Song Buqing, Ice Swordsman, level 23, Magical, Savage Warrior, level 24, kill enemies above your level and get experience bonus, experience gained, 13,000 points. Then, Su Ming's level was directly upgraded to level 20. Su Ming immediately added all the attribute points to luck. Agility is enough, now you can focus on luck. Many people think that luck is a waste attribute. Many people think that luck can basically only affect the probability of dropping treasures. It cannot directly improve combat power, but Su Ming knows very well that luck is not only about the item drop rate, it also affects the probability of a critical hit, the probability of a critical hit, and the damage of a critical hit. Agility will increase the probability of a critical hit, but not as much as luck. Now I mainly increase agility and luck, and I will be able to hit critically with every strike in the later stage. By then, I will be able to kill everything with one sword. Moreover, my talent of sublimating everything can also enjoy the bonus of luck attribute. Then, Su Ming heard a voice, obtain spoils, 10,000 races coins x 30900, advent coins x 100,000, silver low-grade gloves, silver high-grade rings, gold high-grade warhammer, gold wand. All the items of everyone belonged to Su Ming. Su Ming collected them all. With this wave, I made much more money than killing monsters. No wonder there are so many perverted murderers rampant. Draw the sword and cut instantly. Thunder sword art. Skill proficiency improved. Draw the sword and cut instantly. Gold low-grade sword skill. Gather your spirit. Condense all your energy into one sword. Draw the sword and cut. The power is terrifying. Thunder sword. Golden lower grade sword skill. Concentrate lightning on the blade to increase the power of the sword. A brand new sword skill surged into his mind. Su Ming could feel that his power had greatly improved. But the continuous rewards did not make Su Ming feel better, because the giant snake suddenly woke up. In the distance, the burly giant snake raised its head. Su Ming could feel that the ground around him was shaking. The giant snake seemed to be extremely angry and let out a roar. Player upgraded to level 20. Second level task assignment. Assignment successful. Kill a second level monster or above. This task is really outrageous. The player who has not reached the second level is required to kill a second level monster. Only a profession like Sword God would have such a terrifying task assigned to it. Su Ming stared at the giant snake in front of him, and a hint of murderous intent emerged, a second-turn monster, just in time to complete the Tianta Club mission and the second-turn mission. Today, Su Ming is going to start the second turn, even if you, a big snake, wake up, it's useless. Su Ming's face was cold, and he pushed Leah away. Little girl, hide. Don't hold me back. Su Ming said coldly without mercy. Leah didn't think Su Ming was rude, but nodded. Okay. She twitched her cat ears and fled. When she saw the giant snake, she felt a deep fear, so she didn't dare to fight, so she knew that leaving was the best choice. Let Su Ming fight freely, and the chance of winning is the greatest. She was full of tension, hoping that Su Ming must win. Revenge for everyone in the village. Roar. The giant snake opened its huge mouth, revealing its snake tongue. The wide upper and lower jaws opened, as if they could swallow a small house. This giant snake was too scary, it simply crushed Su Ming. Ordinary snakes cannot roar, but can only hiss. This snake, after many mutations, can make a strange roar-like sound, which sounds extremely breathtaking. With that roar, all the birds and beasts in the surrounding dense forest scattered. Within a few miles, all the beasts fled in panic. The giant snake rushed directly to the body of the female mage Wang Yu and swallowed her in one bite. The bloody mouth opened, and even bit a big hole in the land. You can imagine how terrifying this scene was. Su Ming stood upright, with a blank expression on his face. He pulled out the dragon-embellished broken sword from his waist and held it in his hand. The black sword spun and floated in the air, surrounding him. The spiritual blade spun around Su Ming. In his left hand, he held the shadow sword. With 4 swords, Su Ming's peak fighting posture was unreserved. The giant snake roared and rushed over. The huge winding body was extremely terrifying. It caused a strong wind to blow. Chapter 49. The sword enters the body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The wind howled, making Su Ming's clothes rustle, but he did not avoid the attack immediately. And he used his insightful eyes to check the information of this huge monster. Giant toxic python, wild boss, level 26, strength, 401 points, constitution, 350 points, agility, 157 points, spirit, 10 points, luck, 10 points, skills, tight epidermis, creeping scales, corrosive venom, molting, hell strangulation. It is higher than the level in the Tianta mission list, reaching level 26. The strength attribute has reached a terrifying 401, it has far exceeded the novice's deputy boss, the Blood Lake Guardian. When fighting the Blood Lake Guardian, Su Ming still had 3 weak teammates, but now, there is only 1 person. But Su Ming stood up, not panicking at all. Although the big snake is terrifying, Su Ming is no longer the same as before, and his strength has skyrocketed. Su Ming spun around and flew up into the air. His clothes fluttered, his figure was as illusory as a dream bubble, his movements were mysterious, and his footsteps were like a dragonfly skimming the water. It can be said that he was in one breath. He soared above the head of the giant snake and raised his hand to slash 4 swords. Swish, swish, swish. Driven by the sword control skill, the Xianfeng sword stabbed straight into the air. The spiritual blade rotated and slashed at the head of the giant snake. The shadow sword in the left hand was wrapped around the surging thunder sword, and the electric light flashed, and it slashed away. At the same time, the dragon-inlaid broken sword in the right hand also slashed away with 1 sword. 4 swords came out together. When the giant snake's steel-like scales were chopped, sparks appeared immediately. It is conceivable how hard the scales of the giant snake are. Su Ming's agility attribute is very high, nearly 50 points higher than that of the giant snake. So it is very easy to avoid the attack of the giant snake. The giant snake's angry collision can even smash a big tree, but it can't touch the corner of Su Ming's clothes. This is the biggest reason why Su Ming focuses on agility, because the tolerance rate is high. If you focus on physical fitness, your vitality will indeed increase, your physique will be stronger, and you will be more resistant to attacks, and your defense can really be improved. But even if you point to a higher physical fitness attribute, you will still be hurt, when you encounter a strong enough enemy. As long as you take a hit, no matter how high your defense is, you can resist it. At this time, you can only survive by avoiding it flexibly. Su Ming believes that resisting attacks is always the best solution. Agility is different. It can make Su Ming's swordsmanship more powerful and faster at the same time. It can also increase the ability to avoid attacks. It can be said to be a perfect attribute for both offense and defense. With 200 points of agility as a support, Su Ming can fight against opponents of different levels with ease. Crackling, for swords slashed from different angles, they hit the giant snake's scales firmly. Sparks flew everywhere. Su Ming could see with his own eyes the damage marks caused by each of the 4 swords. The layers of scales, which reflected the metallic luster and were extremely thick, were indeed extremely hard. Even with the blessing of Su Ming's 10 times the power of his swordsmanship, it did not cause much damage. The spiritual blade caused the least damage, because it didn't even have a physical blade, just a sword condensed by Su Ming's spiritual power, and it only barely scratched a layer of the giant snake scales. The black sword cut into about 5 centimeters, the shadow long sword went directly half a meter deep. These 3 swords caused a total of 3% damage to the giant snake. It can be said that it was just a scrape. But the dragon-inlaid broken sword was the strongest. Although the blade of this sword was very short, like a dagger, it only went 10 centimeters deep, but this sword was extremely sharp. It cut into the giant snake's scales without any sense of frustration. The damage caused was also the highest. This knife alone caused the giant snake to lose 4% of its blood. The giant snake let out a painful roar, extremely angry. Su Ming's sword was no match for him, but the pain was still very obvious. The snake's head suddenly turned around and bit Su Ming. In the snake's eyes, there was a fierce flash. It seemed that it thought that this move had already killed Su Ming. Because this human had no wings. Without wings, it could not change its position in mid-air. No matter how flexible you are on land, it will be meaningless in mid-air, because you may be moving on air. The giant snake's bloody mouth opened like an abyss. It could almost wrap Su Ming in it. Su Ming could even see with his own eyes that the tunnel-like throat led directly to the stomach, and there were animal hair, limbs, and bones that had not been completely digested. Su Ming's eyes were sharp. I do not have wings, but I can fly a sword. Su Ming raised his 2 fingers suddenly. The black sword flew back from the snake's scales, suddenly turned around, and stopped in mid-air. It stopped at Su Ming's feet. Su Ming's control over the skill of flying a sword has become more and more proficient. Now it can even stop in mid-air accurately. Su Ming directly stepped on the sword. Skillful use of force. Su Ming turned around gracefully and retreated 10 meters. The action was extremely fast. The Xianfeng sword was shot into the giant snake's throat by the recoil of his feet. The giant snake missed the attack, but managed to swallow the spiritual blade, which was instantly annihilated. The Xianfeng sword pierced into the snake's body. The snake's gastric juice can indeed corrode the spiritual blade without a physical body in an instant. But the snake cannot corrode the Xianfeng sword instantly. So the Xianfeng sword was able to rage violently in the snake's body. Su Ming jumped to avoid the snake's attack and landed on the ground. He immediately adjusted his posture and his eyes moved slightly. The Xianfeng sword immediately turned and cut in the giant snake's body. The giant snake suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. The Xianfeng sword raged violently in the snake's body. Under the power of the sword, the Xianfeng sword spun, moved, and chopped like a meat slicer. The giant snake screamed miserably, and its head fell to the ground. Boom! Dust rose up, its huge body fell and smashed many trees. There was extreme anger in its eyes. It had been extremely large in size since its birth, and it was the well-deserved king of the forest. Countless humans, mutants, beasts, and job changers were buried in its huge mouth. For so many years, it had been devouring non-stop. It had absorbed countless nutrients from its flesh and blood, so it could grow so huge and winding like a dragon. It was furious, and no human had ever dared to hurt it like this. Su Ming looked at its painful appearance with a calm look in his eyes. The scales of this giant snake are indeed hard enough, but the defensive ability inside its body is still strong enough. No matter how hard the scales are, I will attack your abdomen directly from the inside. Su Ming said coldly in his heart, In this way, the evolution of the giant snake's scales is meaningless.